There it
There
is.
we
You
go.
did it.
I did it. All right. I do like
A prompt.
a timely
Sure.
thing, but I also know we had many more people registered. So maybe we will allow 1 more minute before we get going, although we have recorded ourselves, so we're good.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome.
Let's get started.
All right. I feel great about it.
Feel great about it too.
All right, welcome. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandra McGonigal. I'm the superintendent for the Los Altos School District. I love my job, and I'm so glad to be here tonight talking to you about our school district. And I'm thrilled to have my colleague here, Gregory Drummond. Greg, you can introduce yourself.
I work in the curriculum office. I'm the director of teaching and learning here in the district, and I love my job more than Sandra does.
Not true. So Greg and I are here tonight. I'll move forward, hopefully, in my presentation here, but Greg and I are really here tonight to give you an overview of the district. Each of our elementary schools had an in-person session, so this is really following that session that happened at our elementary schools, but we're happy to be here online over Zoom with you. So we're hoping that you will get to know our programs, what we value, what we believe about teaching and learning, what your child's experience is like in LASD. And at the end of our session, we'll have an opportunity for some Q&A because we want to make sure that we have plenty of time to answer the questions you might have. So
there's an idea that we talk about a lot with teachers, which is around how the world is rapidly changing, and it changes more rapidly now than it used to change because there's so much access to information that there never was before. And it means that we're preparing kids for a future that didn't exist before and probably doesn't exist now. And so when we think about what we do for kids in LASD, it is not only about providing kids an excellent education around the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also preparing kids to enter into our very global society with character, creativity, critical thinking skills, knowing what it means to be a good citizen and having the ability to collaborate with each other.
Yeah, it's really an integral part of what we do in our classrooms, starting in TK. You see it in action all the time, right alongside our more academic-y work. It's fully embedded. So let's talk about one of our favorite topics, the LASD student experience.
You can learn more about this by listening to our podcast.
Called the LASD student experience, but it really sits at the core of what we do and what we value as a district. That white text there really highlights our strong beliefs about the experience that children have within our district, that we connect for all kids, we integrate their experience with the whole idea of developing them as full people for today and for their future. And we really focus our classroom experience around these 5 areas.
When you walk into our classes, this is what you'll see going on, that teachers have developed relationships with kids that make it possible for them to push kids in their thinking about themselves and the work that they're doing because the relationship is so strong. They're doing it in a space that is incredibly safe, and students see themselves represented there and feel like they belong in the classroom. They're given rich tasks to work on, things that challenge their thinking and get them working with each other and talking about and building important ideas together. We're working on developing all of the skills that I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, and we're doing it in spaces where kids have access to supports that help all children access the best learning experience possible.
We were in classrooms yesterday, and we visited a first grade classroom yesterday. And what I loved, there were so many things that I loved what I saw in that classroom, but what I really noticed being in that classroom is that the kids owned the classroom. It was their space. They were in charge of doing all of the things to allow their classroom to run, and their teacher is simply giving them the space, the opportunity, and the
some
push that they
guidance to make
need.
it
Plenty
happen.
of guidance. But I absolutely love that. It's so beautiful to see in action. So we do have, as you probably just heard, a student-centered approach. We really value a wide variety of instructional methods here. There is certainly time for directed instruction. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get into some core subjects, but we also want to make sure that our kids are building skills around inquiry, around collaboration, through project-based learning. So throughout their experience, they're getting lots of different types of instructional models.
We pay attention to all of these components as part of a well-rounded education for kids. We know that it's not just about the R's, and it's not just about those future-ready skills either. It's about the types of activities that are going to get kids to those outcomes. And so we have a variety of programs in place. Our STEM program, our computer science program, are second to none in giving kids access to really critical skills that they will need, developing foundational skills so they can be successful in STEM careers. Our living classroom and our docent programs are volunteer-based here in the community. We have huge support for these longtime programs that bring volunteers into the classroom to give kids experiences around art and classroom gardens. Project Cornerstone we work closely with and are in our classrooms along with Character Strong to ensure that kids are learning about how to interact with each other and the world in ways that are responsible and ethical and kind.
I'll also point out, you mentioned the docents, that many of these programs that you see here, along with just classroom activities and experiences, are a great way for new families to get involved in their school, in their child's education through some kind of docent or volunteering if you have time. You will certainly learn more about that when you get into schools. So one thing we're so proud of in LASD is our really strong relationship with our teachers. We have absolutely phenomenal teachers. The best teachers. They know their students. They love working here in LASD. They see themselves as learners and are continuously growing.
And they know the most up-to-date methods and practices to make great things happen for kids every day.
Absolutely. I think we're going to attempt to watch an embedded video and see. Let's hope it works.
What else could you do to figure it out?
Every single teacher I had, I love them so much.
Fix up our vowel power. Bug, check to make sure you have a lowercase b, u, and g. Okay.
It's really important to have great teachers in good schools, teams that share a philosophy and really come together with student learning as a focus and a goal.
Instruction is of extremely high quality here. Our teachers know our students. Because they know our students so well, they're able to personalize learning for them. Our teachers care deeply about our students' learning experiences in the classroom. Not only do they care about their academic achievement, they care that they develop skills and competencies to be successful in life.
Yeah, find this one first. That idea of teamwork, bringing multiple heads together, is a great foundation for building equity in schools. When each student in different classrooms are experiencing similar curriculum, events, and teaching strategies.
If you come into our classrooms, you'll see students engaged in hands-on learning, especially with the higher level thinking. You'll see students talking with each other. You'll see them engaged with trying new things, explaining their thinking, explaining their reasoning, and really building those skills of collaboration, teamwork, and critical thinking.
You want to pause again before that and split there too.
Relationships are the key to pretty much everything in Los Altos. We value relationships with our teachers, with our staffs, with our students. And we know that if we hire teachers who believe equally in that relationship piece, they're going to be successful.
What I love about that video is that it actually is what our classrooms look like when you go into them. Kids are doing really amazing things with their time.
Absolutely. And I don't think we have a slide about this later, but it's important to know that you can sign up for a tour. If you're really interested and ready to register, want to make a decision, you can figure out, and we do have a slide for that at the end of this deck, but call your neighborhood school or any one of our elementary schools and get on a classroom tour. It's really incredible. You'll walk with the principal, you'll meet some teachers, possibly some other families, and really get an opportunity to walk into our classrooms and see them in action because they are magical. No, do that. Next up.
So our results show the high quality work that we're doing with kids. And you can see here, you know, on the state assessments each year, we consistently score well above the average for both Santa Clara County and the state of California. We're so proud of the work, the academic work that our teachers do with kids and that our kids do every year.
Absolutely. So I talked a little bit about this before, but when you're making a choice to come to, or really making a choice, I remember when my kids were starting kindergarten, you're making a choice not only for your child's education, but for a community that you are going to become incredibly involved in, whether you're a full-time working parent, a single parent, a stay-at-home parent, a guardian, you are going to be selecting a community with lots of opportunities to get involved. So we have opportunities directly in our classrooms, so many school-wide events where our PTAs and our other organizations might be putting on school-wide events that require volunteer time. Each of our schools has a thriving parent-teacher association, a PTA, and they're really strong partners with us to make sure that our kids are having all sorts of beyond school experiences at their schools. And then, of course, we have an outstanding foundation, the Los Altos Educational Foundation, and lots of opportunities to get involved with them and to help support the foundation because they do help us provide things beyond what we could provide with the funding we get from our local and state groups. So we appreciate all of our big community and want you to think closely about making your selection and understanding that it's not just for your child, it's for you as well.
I just got the email today from Springer School highlighting their after-school programs for the winter. I just want to read you some of the titles: soccer, coding, STEM Lego class, art buzz, Springer singers, Euro school tennis, hip hop dance, math science, academic chess, easy Spanish, and the list goes on and on and on. There are so many opportunities for kids to do fun and engaging things after school.
Absolutely. We also partner with the Los Altos Chinese School. So we have classes that start on day one when school starts at all of our elementary schools. So if Mandarin is of interest to you, we have those at all of our schools as well. And so some of our families do qualify for free after-school support, whether that's fun classes or more of an after-school care opportunity. And then many of them are fee-based as well. But we know that so many parents need after-school support. I needed that when I was a parent of young elementary age kids. So we have lots of opportunities and spots for folks at all of our elementary schools. Let's talk about TK. So you may be here about TK, you may be here about kindergarten, you may be here about an upper grade. Our junior highs typically have information sessions starting in February and March, and that's for grades 7 and 8. But let's start with TK because it's a relatively new-ish program that's expanding.
Who goes to TK, Sandra?
Who goes to TK? Well, this coming school year, you can see it will be for children who will turn 5 between September 2nd and June 2nd. And TK, or Transitional Kindergarten, is a newish program that really bridges the world between preschool and kindergarten. Some places may have called it like junior kindergarten or something like that, but it actually is its own little course to prep kids for kindergarten and school and to thrive in elementary school. I think we get into some details in just a moment. Oh, let's see it in action, because we have some phenomenal TK teachers who provide a really great experience for our students.
It's great to see you. It's time to wave goodbye and blow kisses to moms and dads, brothers and sisters.
Here in the Los Altos School District, we have a transitional kindergarten program. We call it TK, and this is a bridge program between preschool and kindergarten.
Dr. Foster went to Foster. We do singing, we do dancing, we do art, we do a lot of reading of literature. We talk, we play, we work together.
Remember, we only make positive noises.
Our TK staff across the district are angels. They have the patience to take them through the process of recognizing letters and numbers and counting, but also spending a lot of time.
You may go and find your place at the table.
Talking about social interaction and body control and all of the things that you'll need in kindergarten to be a focused student.
The opportunity to teach transitional kindergarten came along. Can you sit crisscross and look at Sarah, please?
My shoes is purple color.
Your shoes are purple color. It was a new grade level for public school. And along with my other two TK teachers, we were able to create a program that's just been amazing for children.
Do you think you're taller now than when you were with your other partner?
I love having students coming into our classroom every day with huge smiles, eager to learn.
And how many fingers do we have?
10.
I have twins. I thought kindergarten would be like TK or more of the same, but it wasn't. They were just like ready, better prepared. They had friends. They got art docent, living classroom, Project Cornerstone, the walkathon. They took part in the STEM Expo.
Ready, nice and tall.
For my older child, we had to go to a private preschool to have a TK experience.
Leg is straight.
But with Aiden's experience here in Los Altos, he went to TK for free. He had a longer day, and the transition for Aiden has been seamless.
Octopus does get excited, as we all do. You boys. Research is really clear that when students enter kindergarten with solid social emotional skills and solid academic skills, that they will be on track to meet the grade level expectations throughout their schooling.
Who is that, the big red wall?
And that's what our TK program does, is prepare students for that lifelong successful learning.
All right, a little glimpse into the fun of TK. Why is this doing it to me? There we go.
Yeah, so you saw the video. TK is and K have elements of play, and so we're going to transition to talk about some of the more academic things that kids learn in TK and kindergarten. However, oftentimes when we're talking about these, it's important to remember that these things are taught in ways that are incredibly engaging for kids, that often are play-based, and get kids really working on things in a way that is going to capture their attention in these subjects for the rest of their lives. In math, we know that doing math is more than just solving problems. It's about understanding the concepts and being able to apply the concepts and the procedures to problem solving. And so kids in TK and kindergarten are presented with worthwhile mathematical tasks, we sometimes call them, which really get them to do these things in complex ways that their little minds are able to explore the ideas around counting and comparing numbers, addition and subtraction, place value, patterns, classification, measurement, data, geometry, all of those.
All of those things. Want to talk about literacy
This
too?
is one of my favorite topics.
Yeah,
sure.
I know it is.
So in our schools, we follow the science of how kids learn how to read. And we know that involves everything from word recognition to language comprehension, all of the things that that entails. So kids learn about the sounds in words, all of the parts of the word, the beginning, middle, and end of words, and they manipulate and play with those sounds. They work on understanding the letters that make those sounds, both being able to read them and write them. And they do that through decodable text, which basically means that kids are given books to read that have the phonics skills in them that they just learned. So it's all very well timed so that kids are learning phonics in a sequence that matches their developmental need. And they're also being given opportunities to write using those phonics skills. All of our students are screened for reading difficulties, so we're able to identify really quickly students who will need extra support and get that support to kids right off the bat, so that we have the best likelihood of helping them to minimize any impact of a reading difficulty. They develop all of the skills that you see there around understanding how books work, how print works. Vocabulary is a huge part of that. So you'll see in all of our classrooms a whole lot of language, kids learning how to talk to each other, teachers using real things to teach kids different vocabulary and help them understand complex words. They'll use really advanced language with students to around whatever topics they're learning in science or social studies. And maybe one of the most important things is their exploration that they do around a variety of topics to develop their background knowledge, which is a huge part of reading and learning.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to say, as the science around how kids learn to read has developed over time, that we continue to train our primary teachers, our TK2, TK3 teachers, to make sure that we are using the methods that are really best for kids.
For those of you in the know, we currently, all of our primary teachers are using methods from Orton Gillingham to teach kids phonics.
Yep. So here's just a little snippet about what families tell us. We regularly engage our families. You saw before lots of different ways to be engaged, and at the district level and at the school level, we often yearly survey families, and this is what they tell us. They love our teachers. They adore our teachers. They love that their kids have lots of opportunities for hands-on learning in really engaging breadth of topics. They also, especially post-pandemic, appreciate our attention to the whole child, that we are spending a lot of time on social and emotional learning. And they love that your students, your children, are known by the adults at the school, not just their one classroom teacher, but their grade level teacher. And as they grow, their additional grade levels of teachers, the support staff at our schools, the principals. Every child is really known. And of course, we're very known for our top-notch academics.
Mm-hmm. There are 7 neighborhood elementary schools in Los Altos, and all of them have such a warm, inviting feeling. When you step onto our campuses, you know that it's a place where you belong. And our families can attest to that. What is that little locator thing?
Well, that locator thing is, if you're not sure what your neighborhood school is, that URL there is going to, and it's here, you can jot it down. It's also on our website, I think under the registration area, but you can type in your address and it will tell you which of the neighborhood schools is your school.
So a number of traditions that make our elementary schools special. You can read some of them there. Our weekly assemblies happen at all of our elementary schools, and they're a time where families come to campus in the morning and hear what's going on in the school and celebrate with kids about the great things that are happening. We have lots of opportunities for parents to come and engage, open houses, our back to school nights, ice cream socials. Sandra talked about volunteer opportunities with PTA and the foundation, book fairs. The walkathon is a big one.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking today, I was at one of our winter concerts here at Covington where our 5th and 6th graders were showcasing their budding instrumental talents.
You know what's not on here is Junior Olympics
Oh yeah, that's so
and
crazy.
Junior Olympics.
Junior Olympics, an amazing district-wide community event. And then I was also at 2 of our schools today talking to 6th grade students and teachers because they've just returned from Walden West, which is an outdoor science school up in the mountains. And they were doing some written reflection on their experience, but it's always a favorite of students and teachers to give them an opportunity outside of the more traditional school experience. So some next steps for you, if you're not sure what grade your child qualifies for, you can see that chart there with the birthdays. Sometimes there's a question if they qualify for TK or kinder. We follow strictly our those age ranges. So just be mindful of that. You might want to take a screenshot of that. It's also on our website, and our website is available for you. The registration page is full of all the information you need. Our fantastic registrar, Bridget, is the one who will help you through the process, and you can do it all virtually and communicate over email and sharing of documents. And also Bridget really loves when our families take the time to come in and register in person. We do have a priority registration date that closes on January 12th. So we encourage you to register by that date.
I just realized if you
Yes.
do come in to register, you're going to be sitting exactly
Where
we're
we
sitting
are.
right
We're
this
right at
moment.
Bridget's desk. That's true. That is true. So it is time for Q&A. And let's see how we're going to do our Q&A here. If you want to put your questions in the chat, I think that might be the easiest way to do it. And then we can just talk through them. So there's a question about discipline. How do you handle kids when they have meltdowns?
Sure, we believe strongly in positive discipline, that behavior, just like any other thing that kids learn in school, is something that needs to be taught. And so we use all of our opportunities that we're faced with to be able to teach kids an important lesson. And sometimes that means doing something that's restorative. If amends need to be made or something needs to be repaired, then we help students do that. But we have a positive approach to discipline.
Absolutely. How many classes for TK this year and in which campuses? So currently we have one TK class at all of our elementary schools except for Covington School, and the age gap is growing. So we anticipate having at least one at all 7 schools, but it's not guaranteed. It will be really dependent on those numbers, but we did grow from last year to this year. Is it possible to attend a school that is not your neighborhood school? It is. You would work directly with Bridget. Some of our schools really never have room for intra-district transfers, but often many of them do. So that would be a call to Bridget. Her email is right there behind us here. Priority registration. So when we talk about January 12th, that date really means if you register before that time and we needed to do a lottery, let's say we only had one TK class at a particular school, but we had 28 families and we want to balance it at maybe 20 or 22, we would have to have a lottery, and only the families within the priority registration timeline would be a part of that lottery system. And then after that, if you registered later, you would just get put on that wait list. So we haven't had to have a lottery, but it's something we are mindful of.
That one's related. Can we transfer to another school?
You can talk to Bridget. Does registration mean we have to attend, or when do we need to finalize our admission attendance? So if you would be assuming that this is why you're here, right now you're registering for next school year. If you've happened to move into our location and you want your child to start this year, again, you would reach out to Bridget. If someone moves to LASD in July,
And the assigned school is one of the LAS.
I don't know if that's a question. Our district office is open year round. So if you did move in July and you wanted to start in August, Bridget would work with you to make sure that you would be starting on day one. We really want families to be able to, students especially, to start on day one. Thank you for your question about the website rating. You know, I think It's Great Schools has recently changed their algorithm, which is a little bit unclear. I encourage you to look at what's called the California Schools Dashboard. It's the California Department of Education that pushes all of the data. And you can compare school to school, you compare schools across the state. We will always be toward the very top. I also encourage you to look at niche if you want more of a community generated scoring system. That one has been more stable. I will say Great Schools changes a lot.
How much free play is incorporated into TK versus structured learning? Both certainly happen in our TK classrooms. As far as a ratio, it really depends highly on the day and what's happening in class and this, but we feel like it's really important that there's a bridging experience for kids between preschool and kindergarten. It's not as structured as kindergarten is, but it's not as playful as preschool is.
Yeah, good answer. Is it okay to register after January 12th if you're not yet? Yes, you will not be able to officially register until you are a resident within our district boundaries. So we take kids every day of the school year and register through summer. So not until you are registered. And if you go to the district website and the registration page, it lets you know the list of documents. You have proof of residency. There's some immunization pieces, and Bridget helps walk you through all of that. Which school never has extra spots? I wouldn't say never, but it varies a little bit year by year. Covington is often impacted. There are different grade levels at Almond and a few of the different schools that are impacted. For after school programs, are kids separated in after school?
That's also highly dependent on the program, I believe. Not all of our kids go to an after school program. So, but then depending on the program, they are sometimes put in groups and sometimes stay together.
And some of the programs are geared specifically for certain grade levels.
Right.
But they all have the adequate kind of ratio and supervision. Does priority registration only apply to TK? It also applies to kindergarten. Thank you. Under what circumstance can a child attend first grade if they didn't meet the board during range? So typically if you have a child, and it's hard to tell from that if that's too young or too old, we will place you in your age appropriate grade to start the school year. And it's what we've done with great success. Our teachers are really skilled at differentiation and supporting kids where they are. There are some times where if a child attended a private school and completed a certain grade, or coming from out of country and things are a little bit different, then we work with families to make sure that they're appropriately placed. But if a child needs some acceleration or some support on the other end, your school team, your grade level teacher will work with the school team to make sure that it all works out for your child. Copy of the slides we are going to post tomorrow morning, if our webmaster's in the morning, right on the registration page. So you'll be able to watch this video, and we will also post the slides as well. Process to sign up for after school care. If you go to your neighborhood school website, there should be a link for after school care, and all of those are private groups. If you qualify as a family who qualifies for free or reduced lunch, you will be invited to a more school-sponsored after school care, but all of that happens typically through the school sites. is after school available when school is closed? We're working on that. It kind of depends on the particular programs. After school registration and.
That's a similar question. I
Okay,
think.
yep.
When do I enroll in after school?
So to discuss appropriate placement, I would start with the school principal. That would be the best person to start with. Is speech and OT support available in school? So as a public school district, we serve students with all needs. And we have a fantastic special education department. So if a student comes to us with an IEP, an individualized educational plan that requires speech or occupational therapy, we certainly, from the get-go, before school starts, you would meet with our team. If you have private services, and we're thinking that those would come in, that those do not come in. So for our for public schools, you would need to have an IEP to have those services.
Can a child transfer to LSD TK program from another TK program in the beginning of the year?
Sure, we take kids all year long. All year long. You may not get your neighborhood school if that spot is full, but certainly we take you all year long. After school does have limited spots, but I think at all of our schools, you might not get your first choice, but there will be an opportunity for you. Oh my gosh, is that it? I'm assuming they just go top down, right?
I believe so. I think we did them all.
Okay, we did them all. Thank you so much. We have enjoyed spending a little bit of time with you tonight. We appreciate you taking the time, and do know that we're here. Bridget is a phenomenal resource that you will fall in love with Bridget for sure. And we look forward to having you come to LASD. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Now I have to figure out how to, there we go.